out every morning, ready to find somewhere to hide. You put on the news to thunderstorm warnings, prepare for the worst you might find. You open your oversized umbrella, like mothering arms, it keeps you safe. Well, watching your feet, you can't tell that. Oh, there is no rain. Step out of the shade, look at the day. Out here the weather's better, and now the sky comes into view. Step into the sun, let go of the run you've been hanging on to. Then let go, find something new. You might find you. You say you were happy with your choices. You worked for years on your art. You found a direction and your own voice. Well, what are you hiding in your heart? Step out in the shade, look at the day. Out here the weather's better, and now the sky comes into view. Step into the sun, let go of the run you've been hanging on to. Then let go, find something new. You might find you, and you might like it better there, with the sun shining on your hair. Step out of the shade, look at the day. Out here the weather's better, and now the sky comes into view. Step into the sun, let go of the run you've been hanging on to. Then let go, find something new. Oh, step out of the shade and look at the day. Out here the weather's better, yes it is. Step into the sun, let go of the road you've been hanging on to. Then let go, find something new. You might find you.
Amy Speace. Amy, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Welcome. And why don't you introduce your mini band here?
My mini band is Jagoda, drummer from New York City.
And just as a way of introduction, Amy, you're a performing songwriter. You have 3 CDs, and are you working on your 4th, I believe?
Yeah, actually, we're just finishing it up. It'll be out in, we're just finishing it up, and it's going to be out in, hopefully in July or August this summer.
And you perform in the U.S. and also in Europe, I see.
Yep.
You've been the winner of a number of songwriting contests. Let's say, for example, Kerrville Folk Festival, you were a participant in Songwriter.
Yeah, I was a finalist in the Songwriter Contest.
And John Lennon Songwriter Contest.
John Lennon, I was a finalist. I might have won one. That was a couple years ago.
And what was that? What, USA?
Yeah, John Lennon USA Songwriting Competition. I was and in the, I think it was the, man, I'm forgetting. I was a finalist at the Rocky Mountain Folks Festival Songwriter Contest 2 years in a row, and I was a winner at the Founders Title Folk and Bluegrass Contest. And
okay.
Yeah, so a bunch of them.
A lot of things. And you've really been critically acclaimed, and I wanted to read a quote here. It's from I guess it's from Scotland or the UK. What is it, Zeitgeist?
Zeitgeist.
Zeitgeist.
It's a magazine.
And they said of you, in terms of your newest CD, what's the title of that again?
It's called Songs for Bright Street.
And they say a baker's dozen of heartfelt, soul-searching, uplifting, and crashing down again songs. Miss Speace knows how to rip your heart out and shred it to pieces.
Yeah.
And I guess we'll hear some of those songs and some other ones today.
Yeah.
What I wanted to ask you is maybe talk a little bit about your history. I know you actually started out as an actor.
Yeah, well, actually, way back, I started out as a musician. I started playing piano when I was about 3 years old, and my first love was music, but I decided to pursue acting and playwriting as a profession, mostly because I was writing a lot in college and singing, but just sort of theater stole my heart. Came to New York City, went to graduate school for acting, and I worked as an actress for about 5 or 6 years. And
you were also trained in opera, is that correct?
Yeah, I took classical voice from high school on. I was considering, actually, when I was choosing to go to college, I was sort of back and forth between going to a liberal arts college and going to a musical conservatory. I didn't really want to choose where I wanted to land that early at 18. I had no idea, so I thought I'd go to just a regular college, and I wanted to be a writer, so I studied literature. And then I came to New York and just continued studying theater, and I studied voice on the side as well, but it was just around then when I was doing my first year of professional acting, I bought a guitar and taught myself how to play and started writing songs and just sort of hitting open mics in the city and started playing places like the Living Room and the Bitter End, and it was really just a fun thing on the side. I never really expected that to be my career.
And how did it change that when it did become your career?
You know, it was one of those, I felt like there was a weird, angel hand guiding me. It just was easier, honestly. I mean, I was working steadily as an actress, but it was always sort of an uphill sludge, trying to get noticed and get bigger and better parts and make a living at it. And meanwhile, I'm doing this music thing just as a fluke, and people were coming to my shows, and I was getting the Saturday night shows, and I was getting reviewed and getting radio play, and it just seemed to come easier. And then I had a manager at the time who said, you should really put more time into this, and maybe it's time to just take a sabbatical from acting. And I decided to do that. I put out my first album, Fable, by myself, and decided to book a tour, and that tour led to another tour, led to this gig and that gig, and then it just became clear that this is the life that I was supposed to be doing. So. And
you have a band too. Sometimes you play solo, but you also have a band, and they're the Tear Jerks, is it? Yeah, the Tear Jerks. Yeah. And I want to ask you a bunch of other things, but I'll tell you what, let's hear another tune here. Okay, great. I sit by my window and stare at the moon. I've held all your letters till my fingers were blue. I recall every moment like I'm pressing rewind. I got what I asked for, now I'm losing my mind. Even when I was younger, I liked being alone. Felt awkward at parties and didn't go to the prom, while the whole world was dancing and falling in love. I stayed home in my slippers, watching Harold and Maude, and I feel like I'm dying, 'cause I'm always crying. If this is what love is, make me lonely again. Now I didn't date much and didn't understand why. When girlfriends had crushes, how they'd giggle and sigh. Love made them seem stupid
giddy and lost, and I bragged love would never tie my stomach in knots. But I feel like I'm dying, 'cause I'm always crying. If this is what love is, make me lonely again. Yes, I feel like I'm dying, 'cause I'm always crying. If this is what love is, make me lonely again. Now when I met you, dear, my pride took a dive, 'cause I loved you the first instant you looked into my eyes. Now my whole world is slipping, I'm not sleeping so well. If love's really the answer, oh, why does it put us through hell? And I feel like I'm dying, 'cause I'm always crying. If this is what love is, make me lonely again. Yes, I feel like I'm dying, 'cause I'm always crying. If this is what love is, make me lonely again. Yeah, if this is what love is, make me lonely again.
And we're listening to Amy Speace live here on Fiddles and Frets. And that song is called Make Me Lonely Again, and that's off your newest CD, Songs for Bright Street. And while I'm talking about that, I wanted to read another quote about the CD, and this is from Michael Jaworek, I guess, Birchmere Theater in Alexandria. And he writes, "Rarely do I receive a CD that is complete in its brilliance, songwriting, music, production. Amy Speace's most recent release is one of those rare CDs. Like a reveling wind on a hot day, Amy reminds me that there is always someone out there who has the goods." And you have quite a number, as I said before, quotes and things people have written about you. You have 4 CDs. Well, you have 3, and you're working on your 4th, as we mentioned. What are the names of the first 2 CDs?
Well, the first one's actually out of print. It was with a sort of a pop folk duo that I was in just for a year. The group was called Edith O, and the CD's called Tattooed Queen, but that was recorded in 98 and released in 99. Doesn't exist anymore, actually. I recorded my first solo CD called Fable, and that came out in 2002. And then we recorded Songs for Bright Street from 2002 to 2005. Really, it was a series of demos that, as I was working on them, I was putting the band together and really sort of defining the kind of songwriter I wanted to be in the sound. And then I got signed to a record label, and we were able to put it out in 2006.
And that's Judy Collins' record label, correct?
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Judy's manager heard me play a show at there's a music conference in Austin, Texas every year called South by Southwest, and I was doing a show at Threadgill's Theater, and Catherine DePaul, who's Judy Collins' manager and also the president of the record label, was in town looking for talent, and she heard me sing, and about 6 months later she brought the entire staff and Judy to hear a show of mine in New York City with the band, and just sort of came up to me on stage and asked me who was putting out my next record, and I said I was, and she said, "No, we are." So it was.
And that's Wildflower Records. And yeah. I went to their website, and there's only a few other artists on there.
Yeah, they have Kenny White, who's a piano playing songwriter from New York City, brilliant, and a country band from from Pork Belly Futures. There's actually more than are on the website.
Uh-huh.
They have the Saints. They're an Australian punk band, and then they just signed a songwriter from Grand Rapids, Michigan, named Ralston.
But that's not many, so that's quite a...
Yeah, it's like a handful. It's about 10 artists.
Yeah.
So it's a really small label, and very varied in terms of the kinds of music that they've signed.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Not many people are on Judy Collins' label.
True.
But you are.
Yeah.
How can people get your CDs, I should say?
Well, they should first visit my website, which is Amy Speace, which is spelled like world peace with an S on front, .com. And there are links there to Amazon and CD Baby and iTunes. You can also find songs for Bright Street in most retail locations, so Best Buy and Walmart, places like that.
And you also have a MySpace.
I do.
Is there anyone that does not have a MySpace?
Yeah, don't we all?
You know what I like about that, though, is you can go on and listen to entire songs.
Yeah.
You know, instead of just little snippets that you might on a lot of the...
Yeah, I like it
sites.
because it offers me the opportunity also to post songs that might not end up on an album, or live songs, and I can put them up for a few weeks and then take them down.
That's right. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to mention you've shared a stage with a number of people, including Steve Forbert, Lucy Kaplansky, Ricky Skaggs, and Judy Collins. Well, I'm going to talk a little bit later about where you've played and where you do play. But I thought let's have another song here.
Sure. So this is a song that I wrote for all of my women friends. It's called The Real Thing.
I don't like men who tell me how to talk and how to dress. I don't like girls who gossip when their own life is a mess. Don't like winter in New York 'cause I don't like too much wind. I like the way you feel against me naked on my skin. I'll tell you what I think and I won't sugarcoat it, babe, 'cause I am the real thing. I am too young to know better, but I'm too dang old to care. With enough tequila, I may take up any dare. I am aloof as November, and I'm mean like July. I can purr like a little kitten if you scratch me on the right side. I like the way I look, although I am not model thin. I am the real thing. Oh, do I make you blush? Do I talk too loud? Do I drink too much? Do I act too proud? Well, take me as I am, or take another now. 'Cause I ain't gonna change for nobody, no how. And now I am not a good reformer, found a twisted satisfaction when I went back to confession just to see the priest's reaction. After quite a pause, he asked me if I was contrite, and then he gave me 25 Hail Marys to say each night. So I asked him, am I free to go repeating all my sins? I am the real thing. Oh, do I make you blush? Do I talk too loud? Do I drink too much? Do I wear you out? Well, take me as I am, and I'll take you right here, right now, on the ground, with a whole lot of James Brown. Yeah, you can look to the princess in her high glass tower, or join us witches, we keep very late hours. We are the real thing. We are the real thing. We are the real thing. Hey.
Amy, that's called The Real Thing, and that's also on your Songs for Bright Street.
Yeah.
I have to tell you what my favorite song is.
Tell me.
2.
Oh, yeah.
That's a really... they're all great, but I have a special... I like that especially.
I like that, too.
I wanted to... what did I want to ask? I'm going to edit this out. What did I want to ask here? I see that you have quite a heavy tour schedule.
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking at it here, and geez, it's like 3 pages between now and the end of August, beginning of September. Or no, between now and September. And quite a bit of that is in Europe and the UK and that area. I wanted to ask you, how's your reception been there?
It's been amazing. There's something about the European audiences. They really eat up anything that's rootsy American, American folk, American roots rock, Americana, alt country. They love it. And especially in the UK, it's such a traditional, they have such a tradition of lyric-based songs that they listen really hard and well. And my album got released. It was released in the States here in the summer of 2006, and then it was picked up by Ryko and released in Europe in October this past fall. So I've been touring over there a lot, and the press has been really responsive, and radio has been great, and audiences have been coming out. It's really been quite astounding to me, because you go to play a place like Berlin, and you've never been to Berlin, and you have no idea who's going to show up, and we brought the band over, and there were people lined up. It's pretty fabulous.
When you think about what you were just saying about the rootsy American music, think of the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, and that's what they were into.
Yeah.
It continues. And I know some performers here, a guy named Joseph Parsons from Philadelphia, and he goes over there all the time, and that's what he has found. I think more acceptance over there than he has here.
I think, I was talking to some people in Germany about it. I think they have a better radio thing going over here. Commercial radio here is so limited in terms of who they'll play, obviously. Yeah. But over there's a lot of freeform radio, so you'll hear a radio show that will have Led Zeppelin right straight into Johnny Cash, right straight into somebody like me, and they have no fear about the kind of programming that they have. And so I think it allows young listeners coming up just a widespread, background in music from all over the world, really.
And people can go to your website and see where you're going to be.
Yeah.
And there's a good chance that you may be where they are.
Hopefully. Yeah.
And people listen all around the world to this program, and I know they listen from England. So maybe they will come out and see you.
I'll be out there in February and March opening for Ian Hunter.
I was one of the things I was checking out on your website is Inner Speace.
Yeah, it's my blog.
And and I was blown away with that, because you really opened yourself. You were very personal things on there.
Yeah, I've been a writer my whole life, a journal writer, and then a playwright and a poet and essayist, and it's just another way for me to use that. That's how I see the world, and I started writing these little. I thought they were like little essays on either the recording process or just touring, because people were asking me what's it like on the road. So I wanted to write down these anecdotes and share them, and the more I wrote them, and I post them on my MySpace page, and I have a lot of people who subscribe to my blog, and I find it's another way into what I'm doing.
I just felt that even though I hadn't met you yet, that I learned a lot about you as a human being, and I thought that was great. You even admitted that you're almost 40.
I have 1 week? Yeah. 1 week in my 30s left.
And I don't know exactly how it went, but I thought it was great. That something like how many, what major label is going to pick you up at age 40, but screw them because you like your own label. And I thought that was great.
Thank you. Well, I'm really inspired by, there's an artist out there, Mary Gauthier, who I think is phenomenal, and she's been an inspiration to me, because she started playing music when she was 38, and now she's on Universal Records, and she's just an amazing songwriter, and she's so clear about what she wants to say to the world through her music and just through all of her writing, and I just wanted to be that. I'm 10 years, 15 years behind her, but I don't really... There's a lot of stuff going on out there in terms of how people look at women and who are above 30, and I want to cut through that. And my whole mission, I think, with my music and why I blog is I'm trying to express whatever it is that I think about my life or about our journey here, and a sort of honest truth about it. And so I think that's part of standing up and saying, this is how old I am, and regardless of what I look like, and what you might think a 40-year-old looks like, it doesn't have to be that, or what you might think a songwriter needs to be. We don't all need to be 22. There are people, I mean, the people who are out there listening to the radio are 40-year-old mothers of 3 who were listening to the radio while they're driving their kids to school, and I'm sure they want to hear songs about their experience. So I'm trying to be that.
Well, music which is honest, like your music. I just turned 60, and
happy birthday!
And I thank you. And I'm out there playing, and people in their 20s enjoy my music, and it's great. I mean, this kind of acoustic music, singer-songwriter, really lends itself, I think, to that kind of thing.
Well, one of my favorite songwriters right now is a 17-year-old kid who writes with the soul of a 45-year-old, and I feel like we've sort of met in the same place. And I think obviously music is ageless, it's timeless, and so to put a distinction on how old the person is, and it's silly.
It's only that commercial, that pop type thing.
But I think it's a waste. I want to fight against that. Even in pop, there are pop artists that I know who are 35, who are gorgeous women without doing anything.
I guess what I'm saying in terms of the business, the industry wanting to make money regardless of the music, regardless of if they have to screw the artist at some point, because they don't really care.
Well, that's why I wrote that blog about how much I love my record label. My label's owned by a woman who's 69 who still has a voice of when she was 25.
Exactly.
And she's a true artist and a nurturing person and a real guide for me, and I'm happy to be there.
Let's hear another song, and we're going to come back and wrap up, and then have you go out on another.
Okay,
tune.
let's do a new song. We're going to do a song that'll be on the next album, actually. This is a song inspired by a story somebody told me last summer, so it's their story, not mine. I still see my brother Michael, pressed and polished, shaking hands down at the store. And everyone had come to see the all-star hop the Greyhound bus to go to war. He punched me in the arm to say goodbye. It was the first time that I saw our father cry. And I kept all my brother's letters tied in ribbon in a box beneath my bed. And every night I read by flashlight with the covers in a tent above my head. His words said not to worry, doing fine. It was his way of trying to ease my mind. While I was trying not to read between the lines. The weight of the world, too heavy to lift, and so much to lose, so much to miss, that it doesn't seem fair that an innocent boy should have to carry the weight of the world. Then it was homecoming and football games and picking out our dresses for the prom, with my brother in some desert dodging bullets when he wasn't dodging bombs. And we went from the land brave and free to just being afraid to disagree.
I was being brought down to my knees by the weight of the world, too heavy to lift, so much to lose, so much to miss, that it doesn't seem fair that an innocent boy should have to carry the weight of the world. Oh, it was the middle of December when the army sent my brother home at last, while the flagpole by the football field flew the colors halfway down the mast. The wind blew cold and snow was coming down. Still everybody turned out from our town as we laid my brother in that frozen ground. The weight of the world, too heavy to lift, and so much was lost, and so much was missed, that it doesn't seem fair that any boy and any girl should have to carry the weight of the world, should have to carry the weight of the world.
And we've been listening today to Amy Speace here on Fiddles and Frets. And why don't you give your website one more time so people can check you out?
Sure, it's www.amyspeace.com. So that's AMYSPEACE.com.
It's got peace in it. I want to thank you very much, Amy, and I'm going to let you. I'm going to mess your name up. So.
Jagoda.
There we go, Jagoda. I just been real impressed with your music, the honesty of your music, and also the honesty of letting your fans and everybody else know exactly who you are.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
You're welcome. And we're going to have you go out on one more song.
Great.
Here.
We're going to go out on a fun song. This is a true story song. Not really our true story, but I'm sure it's somebody's. And it's a co-write. I wrote this song with Jagoda sitting right next to me. It's called Double Wide Trailer. It's a love song about two people from opposite sides of the trailer park.
I found love in a double wide trailer. Never thought I'd feel so at home in the mud. And I fell into the arms of a man from Carolina, traded in my trust fund for a 6-pack of bud. Somewhere east of Durham, my Jeep broke down in Justice, trying to get to Duke to meet some good friends for the break. And a good old boy pulled over, said, "How can I be of service?" I got into his pickup truck, that was my first mistake. 'Cause he took me down to Zebulon to his cousin's service station. He offered me some jerky while he checked under the hood. He shook his head and smiled at me and said, "I'll tell you, darling, I hope you got a place to stay, 'cause that sure don't look good." Come on, Chicago. I found love in a double-wide trailer. Never thought I'd feel so at home in the mud. And I fell into the arms of a man from Carolina, traded in my trust fund for a 6-pack of bud. Now the good old boy, he smiled at me. He said, my name is Billy. My cousins call me Buddy, but my mama calls me Joe. Well, you can call me anything you want. You sure are pretty, and I can fix you dinner if you've nowhere else to go. Now his eyes were blue and gentle, and his smile was warm and friendly, and he wore a cut-off t-shirt and a NASCAR baseball cap. His arms tattooed with Dixie crosses wrapped across his biceps. Who would have known by dinner he would have me on his lap? Well, I found love in a double-wide trailer. Never thought I'd feel so at home in the mud. And I fell into the arms of a man from Carolina. Traded in my trust fund for a six-pack of Bud. Now the good old boy, he smiled at me. And 18 months have passed, and now I'm pregnant with our second. Never got to Durham, I guess that's plain to see. I sold the Jeep for parts to pay for cigarettes and diapers, while Joe and Billy Jr. watched Dukes of Hazzard on TV. Hey, I found love in a double-wide trailer. Never thought I'd feel so at home in the mud. And I fell into the arms of a man from Carolina. Traded in my trust fund for a six-pack of Bud. Yes, I traded in my trust fund for a six-pack of Bud.